Ladies and gentlemen, the Bible describes hell as a place of weeping and gnashing of teeth. But given the way this quarterback situation seems to be going at Ohio State, that might be a good description for Columbus come this fall. But we'll get into that in just a second. This is the Big Ten Team Rivalry Show. Thank you so much for hanging out, and thank you so much for 1,840 some odd subscribers. Really appreciate you guys spending some time with us. If you don't mind, maybe clicking the like button, possibly even subscribing. You could even share the show with a friend if you really thought that was the thing that you wanted to do. You could do it, and that'd be great. It would mean a lot to us. We really appreciate you guys all coming and hanging out with us. And yeah, this Ohio State situation is getting just a tad bit crazy. Now, I had heard rumors. I heard rumors that Ohio State was maybe experiencing some quarterback controversy coming into the 2025 season, but I didn't believe it. And I don't know. Do I believe it? I don't know. I guess we'll get into that. But, you know, Ohio State and quarterback issues, that's just not a thing. That's like pretending that Microsoft has good software. That's not a thing. So how can Ohio State have a quarterback issue? I mean, quarterbacks are what they're known for, them and wide receivers, not offensive lines, but quarterbacks and wide receivers for sure. But that seems to be quite possibly what is going on in Columbus right now. And I'll get to this article in just a second, but check this out. This from Ohio State Buckeyes on Sports Illustrated from Matthew Schmidt, and it came out literally just like 8 days ago, July 16th. Concerns surrounding Ohio State quarterback Julian Sayin continue to grow. There are reasons to be concerned about Ohio State Buckeyes quarterback Julian Sayin going into the 2025 college football season. So here's the gist of what's going on. Let's get into the article. Following the 2024 college football season, the hype train for Ohio State quarterback Julian Sayin was full steam ahead. Choo-choo! That was dumb. Sayin was a five-star prospect viewed as a very capable dual threat who even threw a touchdown pass in garbage time during his freshman campaign. He was labeled a Heisman Trophy candidate earlier this offseason, putting the rest of the country on notice. However, since then, things have changed. A shaky performance in spring practice definitely diminished expectations, and Ohio State coach Ryan Day even said that Sayin and Lincoln Kienholz were neck and neck for the starting job. That is rather shocking. The general consensus coming into the 2025 offseason was that Julian Sayin was the next guy. He was the heir to the throne. He was going to take over where Will Howard left off. And Will Howard only took over because Kyle McCord decided to ditch for Syracuse because Ohio State wouldn't guarantee his dad a starting spot on the next team. So, yeah, whatever. Anyway, this is kind of insane. But here's the breakdown. Here's what we've got. Julian Sayin, he's a five-star freshman and former five-star, or redshirt freshman, and former five-star recruit who transferred in from Alabama. He's got the pedigree, he's got the arm talent, but he clearly has not separated himself yet. This is because Lincoln Kienholz, it's either Kienholz or Kienholz. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. He is a third-year sophomore with more time in the Buckeyes system. He's shown leadership and competitiveness, but he lacks game experience. And the fact is that he is a third-year sophomore, so obviously he's been there 3 years now. And without the experience in those 3 years, that's a little bit sus, isn't it? Why hasn't he been given that amount of time? And when it came down to Devin Brown or Lincoln Kienholz, whatever, against Missouri in the bowl game a couple years ago, it was his first career start, stepping in after Kyle McCord transferred to Syracuse earlier that month. Unfortunately, Brown's debut was cut short because he suffered a high ankle sprain in the second quarter. He was replaced by Kienholz, who finished the game, but the Buckeyes struggled offensively mightily, might I add, getting just 203 total yards and falling to Missouri 14-3, possibly one of Ohio State's worst offensive performances ever. Second to that would be their 2024 performance against Michigan. So, haha. Coach Day has emphasized that both quarterbacks have been throwing with receivers and showing growth. And that's going to be kind of key here. He's saying that they're showing growth, and he's curious about how this competition is going to be coming into the fall. But he's also waiting to see who thrives in competitive situations during camp. He also hinted that depth will be crucial, suggesting that both quarterbacks might see action this offseason. Toss up the red flags. Don't like that at all. Do not like that at all. You have Texas week one. Actually, honestly, as a Michigan fan, I love it. Go ahead, play both the quarterbacks. Don't make a decision. Let them try and figure out who's going to be quarterback halfway through the season. That's going to be great for your win-loss. No, it's not. The fact that Julian Sayin hasn't come out as the clear starter just yet is very, very concerning. But of course, you have to take a step back and think about this. Okay, Ryan Day has waited until mid-August to name starting quarterbacks before. He named Will Howard as the starting quarterback way back on August 15th of 2024. That was just 2 weeks before they opened the season against Akron. That timing was actually pretty typical for Ryan Day because he's known for waiting until that second fall scrimmage to make a decision. In past seasons, starters like CJ Stroud and Justin Fields were also announced in mid to late August. So while it does feel like we're getting a little bit late and things are getting a little bit tense, this isn't necessarily out of character for Ryan Day. The problem is that there is unease from a lot more than just Ryan Day, and Ryan Day is not being explicit about anything, but there is unease among the fan base or among former fans and people close to the program about how this competition is unfolding. Wide receiver Jeremiah Smith has publicly backed both Julian Sayin and Lincoln Kienholz, but he also issued a subtle warning saying that people are assuming Julian Sayin will start, but the competition is still wide open. That's in this article from Athlon Sports here, saying that while all eyes are on Ohio State quarterback competition, Jeremiah Smith kind of has a warning about those who are making assumptions. He says, that's what I've been getting today a lot. This was at Big Ten Media Days. Everybody just asks me about Julian and how you feel like he's going to be our starting quarterback. I'd be like, whoa, we still have a quarterback competition going on throughout fall camp, so we just got to wait and see who will be the quarterback. Lincoln, he's a dog. Me and him went at it in summer competitions, and he's definitely a tough guy. He's a leader just like Julian. This is just interesting. So this is more stuff that kind of makes you feel like, okay, they're being kind of gray about this situation. They're not exactly saying one thing or the other about how the situation is unfolding, but that makes sense. Ryan Day wouldn't. Jeremiah Smith wouldn't necessarily say something like that. Let me find the quote from Ryan Day here real quick. Okay, so Ryan Day himself even said, I would say there's times where I've gone into this part of the season feeling like I know or have a feeling on where it's going. I don't know right now. I think Tavian St. Clair is still a third quarterback right now, and he's going to grow and has a really bright future ahead of him, but he needs this preseason. He needs the first half of the season to grow. So that's about Tavian St. Clair. He's showed plenty of potential and all that, but he's just not ready yet. He also said Julian and Lincoln have both done some really good things in the offseason. They're getting stronger. There's been really good leadership. The ball is coming out of their hands good right now, but we got to go play football, and that's, to me, the wild card in all of this. The fact that they want to wait until they get into some competitive competitions to see how both of these quarterbacks perform is a little bit telling. That is the fact that he's not leaning one way or the other, and the fact that he openly admits that he's not leaning one way or the other. Now, I won't belabor the point or beat a dead horse, continue to be a dead horse, however that saying goes. But the fact, so you might be listening to all this and saying, yes, that's Ryan Day, that's Jeremiah Smith. What's new here? I mean, of course they're going to say things about their own program that are a little bit gray, a little bit, you don't really know what they're getting at. It could be good, could be bad. It could be the fact that, both of them have actually been playing really well. Unfortunately, not quite. You've got Andy Staples from On3 saying Julian Sayin is just 7th among Big Ten quarterbacks, which is a steep drop for someone once hyped as a Heisman contender. Staples argued that Sayin hasn't shown enough to be considered elite and that there's every reason to be concerned about his readiness. Alex Gleitman of Letterman Row reported that Julian Sayin had a rough outing in the spring practice, calling it not his best day. That's especially troubling given how close the competition is with Lincoln Kienholz, whatever. I'm just going to say Lincoln. Evan Massey of Sporting News echoed those concerns, saying that Sayin's struggles are not good news and that Ohio State needs top-tier quarterback play to defend its national title. Even Ryan Day hasn't sugarcoated it. He said the competition is fierce and that they'll need depth because they can't be messing around with Texas looming. And this was something that a former player, Bobby Carpenter, has also voiced his concerns about, saying about Ohio State's quarterback competition, that he's not alone in the sentiment that there are problems with Ohio State's quarterback situation. On the Barbie. On the Bobby Carpenter show, he discussed the lack of clarity and urgency in the quarterback battle, especially with the season opener against Texas looming large. Here's what's fueling his concern: Ryan Day's uncertainty. So the fact that Ryan Day doesn't know, he admitted that he doesn't have a feeling yet, like we just read in that article. That's a stark contrast to previous years when he said that he had a clearer sense by this point in camp. There is a lack of separation between the two quarterbacks. Both have shown flashes, but neither has consistently outperformed. Carpenter emphasized that this indecision could hurt offensive rhythm and leadership. Dude, just ask Michigan from last year. Game readiness questions. Carpenter and other analysts have pointed out that while Sayen has the talent, he hasn't proven that he can handle pressure situations yet. And I don't know what playing Big Ten football is if not a massive pressure situation. So, 8-4? 9-3, what are we looking at for Ohio State? I don't have their schedule up in front of me, but the opening game against Texas, they go on the road against Washington. That's sneaky. They go on the road against Illinois, and then obviously on the road against Michigan. How many of those games are they winning? If they have shaky quarterback play, how many of those games are they losing? They've got Ferraris out wide. They've got probably the best wide receiver room in the nation, and I don't know that it's particularly close. But they have also had some offensive line issues, and if they're also having quarterback issues, how much of a step back is it possible that this offense is going to take? Plus factor in 2 new coordinators, plus a lot of offensive turnover, frankly. This is going to be a really interesting situation for Ohio State. If I were a Buckeye fan, I would be concerned, but I am not. So I'm pretty excited about this. I think this could be really interesting. You've got a lot of people saying that Ohio State, it doesn't really matter. Actually, this was something that Jeremiah Smith said, was that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who starts. The Buckeye offense will be okay. Because he's saying that Ohio State has enough weapons on the offense that it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, except it absolutely does matter who the quarterback is. And maybe this is just Jeremiah Smith's way of sticking up for his quarterbacks. And that's respectable for sure. But it kind of tells you that Jeremiah Smith is like, well, who cares about who starts at quarterback? Like, we don't need to talk about that competition. We've got amazing players at running back. They do. And wide receiver. Oh, yeah, for sure they do. So it's kind of interesting. What happens at the quarterback position? Who's going to be able to throw the Ferraris out wide the ball? That's going to be the question for Ohio State coming in. And I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it right there, because if I go on any longer, I'm going to get seriously blasted from Ohio State. I'm already going to get blasted from Ohio State fans, but that's okay. It just gives me something to talk about for the next video, which means more money. Keep bringing me that ad revenue, Buckeye fans. I love it. Your tears nourish me. It's just great. Let me know in the comments section, who do you think is going to get the start, and should Ohio State fans be concerned about the quarterback situation coming into the 2025 season? Don't forget to join us Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us in the chat there. We go live every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.